So it's really just April, Pam, and Mike Smith.
And April's still there too then.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's really small though. compared to-
Oh, it is.
Another right-of-way person, just maybe in the last couple months, but they were down to like 6 people.
Wow.
5 or 6 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a lot smaller.
Yeah, half. It's
Yes.
like, there was at least 10.
Yeah, that was a pretty good sized department at one time. Yeah. Wow.
And
So are they
then-
contracting out a lot of their stuff too then, or maybe they're not having to do as much
They do.
right of way work, huh?
They do some, yeah. No, it's just like whenever I left Ameren, Ameren said, I've got enough work to keep you busy for 5 years. Well, lasted about a year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, well, we're out of money. We don't have any money.
Like always, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but now, they're doing early buyouts on 67
Oh,
down from like Neelyville down to Arkansas.
on the south end. Okay.
Hey, Jonathan.
So. we're busy with
Hi,
that.
Alex, how you doing?
I understand.
Good. Everything's, you need, I just put the settings to, when it's your turn, I can flip it over to you.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Have you, first on the agenda, go through items 1 through 6, and then we'll have you up.
Okay, yeah.
You ever hear from Barry?
I talk to Barry quite often. I haven't talked to him probably in the last several weeks, but yeah, I talk to Barry quite a bit.
He's got the little loan doc going on.
He absolutely does. Yeah. Yeah, I see.
He's contacted me to do some work for him.
Has he?
So, yeah.
I kind of wondered about that. Well, he'd keep you busy for sure. They seem like they've got a lot going on.
A lot of it doesn't require right away, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
Yeah, it is. That's for sure. See the whole crew again, don't we? Yeah, he's done, I think about 3 projects for us. A couple of bridges and a box culvert. So I get to see him.
Yeah, he's got some going on in Garyville now.
Oh, he does?
Some bridge. Still like 3 different bridge replacements.
Well, good.
Who's gonna be remote?
I think they're gonna keep busy, I think.
Yeah, next schools are busy out there.
Have to call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning, everyone.
Hello, Jay.
All the stakeholders are out cleaning out the streams, huh?
Yeah. Trying to open up pipes for all this rain to go through.
Might wash my bridge out, Marky.
Hey, it might do it. I hope not. How are you? I talked to your son the other
He
day. I
gave
don't
me-
know if he told
He
you.
gave me a full report
Did he?
in 31-year-old language, which is a whole lot different than the
Well,
way you and I talk.
Well, maybe. I tried to simplify it the best I could, and I think he was grasping it all.
Yeah, but he was, shit, communication with those guys from Thomas. So no, Gunner, what was it exactly he said?
Well,
Anyway, your assessment was confirmed by, I had Frauenberger out there.
did you have that look at it?
Yeah, and he's putting together a bid.
Okay.
He seems to think that plastic liner,
If you can get one in there, that wouldn't be a bad option. That's what I was trying to get across too. The only problem with the deflection in the top of that thing, you might have to,
deflection was the word Gunner was trying to find. I think he was calling it inflection.
Okay. Well,
I
close
said, those
enough.
are the inverse of each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's cool down, so-
You can see it at the top. It's had some movement there, and you can also see it kind of in your rock head wall there. You kind of see a little bit at the top between the old pipe and what was there, so. That was one kind of concerning part to me, you know, about the whole thing.
Well,
And
you
then
know-
obviously the whole inverter, the bottom of the pipe's gone, obviously.
You know David Paul,
I do, yeah.
and I think the world,
He's a good guy.
he did all of the bridge
The
work.
head wall on
The head
top,
wall.
right? I thought that's what you'd said before, that they had done.
And so he said, you know, he said, what we could do is come in and cut out the culvert
Uh-huh.
up to where the rust stops, put in rebar and concrete all that. He said, that'll give you 30 years.
And that's what I was trying to get across to her. If it was mine.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
And he said, that'll give you 30 or 40
Yeah.
years. Well, that's because Gunner's worried about 50 or 60 years.
Well, I
And
get
you
it.
and I are worried
I
about
get
30
I
or
get
40.
it. I understand. There is a difference and
And so
fully
Dave said,
understand.
now, if you wanna fix that thing permanently?
Yeah.
Not that 30 or 40 years ain't permanent in my
It's
mind.
pretty close on pipe. Yeah.
He said, let me get you a price on putting a plastic liner. He says, we're doing 2 bridges up by Mondi right now. We're
Okay.
doing the same thing.
Yes, so he's familiar with it.
And then as I understood it, they put that in and they grouted around it.
That's right, that's right.
So, and I was a little, I hate to manage expectations, but I said, okay, Dave, come on. I said, what are you talking about to do something? So I always start with this, you know, $5 grand or something. He says, you know what? He said, I don't know about the pipe deal, but he said, and he goes, that might not be a lot more. He said, we're probably $6,000.
Huh?
I would think that's not.
Yeah, it's raining.
I don't think you're crazy.
And see, I've been able to get
Gotcha.
because it's our lifeline.
Yeah. You gotta have it.
It's the only way that we get in and out.
No, absolutely.
So, you know, so now if you're talking, you know,
Hey, Jay.
it'd probably be 75.
Last meeting,
It's done. You
did
know,
you
you're
give the
talking
update or?
3,500.
Yeah,
That's,
I really think that would be really good. Because I think that.
not doing the insert, not doing the liner.
Either one.
Yeah.
The liner, I think, is a great option if it works.
Yeah, he seems to think he seems to think, no, we're gonna carry your shed.
Yeah.
We'll have to take some little trees down.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get down in there to do the work, and I understand that. Hey, Jake, how's it going? But I think either one's obviously fine. One thing, just to look to the future, on the other channel where you've got the old boilers
Yeah.
in there, if you ever start to see any rust on the bottom of that thing, Jay, you can do that. We did
Hey, I was gonna look at the handout, been like,
that.
oh,
We
yeah.
just did one.
Yeah, he
Literally.
said a
Never
crusty
mind.
challenge.
Yes,
I thought
right
you
there
did
north.
see it.
No,
We didn't put any, because it was still.
I just pick
fine.
I just pick up a copy of everything every time. Standard.
And we literally just- You
Yeah.
looking at it, you know, anymore.
Yeah.
And it's cheap fix.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to go in it. Because you start getting those bigger culverts like that, you know, it's pretty pricey nowadays.
Oh, shit, I don't think we wanna do that at all.
Why, I mean, I wouldn't if you can get.
Now, I
those
hope
out
this
there.
rain here gets us through this a little
I
bit.
know.
Cause like
I know.
Dave said, he said, you're okay. He said, if you started seeing little pockets on top.
That's when you'll start seeing it.
but he
That's where it
said-
shows up.
But he said the fact that you've got that boiler in
That
there,
helps.
that really helps.
It does. It does. He's right.
So anyway, if I'm hearing you right, if you're birds, you'd probably just concrete it. That's probably- But we'll see.
The pipeline.
If the liner is $500 more, you
I'm
know,
gonna say, you're gonna have him form up and do the concrete work. I bet you're not. gonna have a whole lot of difference.
yeah,
That's my thought. And
yeah.
if it's not, that line. Probably be a real bad option for you.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, no, we were out in the area, I had my partner with me, I said, hang on here, I want to drop in there for a second.
These are fun. We can look at something that's not gonna
Yeah,
cost us a thing.
that we don't have to deal with, yes, exactly. We were out in the neighborhoods, we dropped it.
Well,
And it was great, I was glad to see Gunner.
I
too.
honestly didn't notice it. I was out there working around. And she heard me there, I gotta show you something. And he's always.
Uh-huh.
And what had happened is that the last big storm we had, the bottom had rusted out and the water came through and it bent all of the bottom of the culvert back.
Rolls it up.
Rolled it up.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
So Gunnar and I got down in there and chopped away at that because it was basically blocking the culvert.
Sure.
But, so now we're left with, you that's just gravel and dirt. Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't
And
really.
like you
have
say,
that.
He's gonna come in.
you definitely need to address it.
I know it, and I didn't know that. I
But
had no
it's good
idea.
that you found it when you did.
I had no idea that a culvert actually adds integrity to the bridge. See, I always thought it would have just been a conduit for water to flow through it. But I had no idea that it gives integrity.
It's structural.
It's structural.
Yeah, it is.
And so that makes perfect sense now that with the round being compromised.
Yes.
It started, over time, that will go down.
Yeah, you would have lost it.
And see, the other thing about it is, now Mr. Burke's doing, I'm not casting any blame,
Yeah.
but I'll be out there on Saturday, there'll be a UPS truck, a FedEx truck, and a mail truck.
Oh, my.
There'll be 3 trucks a day delivering.
Really?
Yeah.
It's got stuff all the time, huh?
So,
Go figure, huh?
so my point is those big heavy trucks drive across.
Yeah.
It's
All
not
right,
just.
we're gonna get started. We've got weather coming in. Some folks have to get out of here early, so we're gonna try to keep this meeting as short as we can. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Meeting to order, April 2nd, 2025, SEMPO TPC meeting. Introductions will start on the left here and go around. James.
James Collier, KLG.
Chad Burner, SEMO ready.
Alex McElroy, Central Staff.
Ryan Shelton, City Cape Girardeau.
Jay Gerard, City Cape.
Morning, everyone. I'm Jay Knudsen here representing Cape Girardeau County.
Mark Phillips, Cape Special.
Corbin Carlton, MoDOT. Joe Killian, MoDOT.
Carrie
Walking
Harvey.
in is Carrie Harvest. We also have online Cecily Cochran with Federal Highway, Daniel Whitecat with Federal Highway, Drew Christian with SEMO Regional Planning Commission, Jenny Smith with Cape Girardeau County CTA, Michael Henderson with MoDOT, Jonathan Colbert with Plains End Studios, and Mike Alvin with CBB.
Okay, welcome, everyone. Do you have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda? Chad made the motion.
Second, Phillips.
Mark, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, approval of the minutes of the March 5th meeting. The only correction I had was under the City of Jackson report, it was Mr. Bollinger, I believe, that gave the report, not Mr. Haas. That we have a motion to approve the minutes as noted
So moved.
by Mark,
Second, Knudsen.
second by Jay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved. No communications, any public comments? Now, we'll move on. New and finished business. First, we have the SEMPO Region Trail Connection Study.
Okay, we do have our consultant here to provide a brief presentation. They gave us a copy of the draft report, which I shared out via email and a link. It is a large file, so you can download it directly from the SEMPO website. We don't assume that you've had an opportunity to read through it yet, but we wanted to provide some information on some of the last chapter, not to review everything that we've shared with the group in the past, but provide some of the latest additions to the draft report. So I'll turn it over to Jonathan with Planning Design Studios.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So I will share this now. Let's see. And, okay, are you guys able to see that now?
You see your screen.
Okay, good. So just briefly go through, we'll give you an update on the scope of work, tell you about like what are the, at least what are the main sections of the report, the overview. Then we'll go into what Alex said is the kind of the last section, which you guys haven't really seen much, which is just an overview of the trail recommendations and implementation that we provided in that report. And then just next steps from that. So as we go, see, so far as scope of work, we've completed basically all the main tasks. We've submitted we've submitted the report. We're open to any adjustments that you guys need, but after this, I think the main things is organizing the where we present at the SEMPO board meeting and set up an open house, which is what I guess maybe just a final report for that to tell people about what's been done. As the report goes, the just summary of that, it's like we have an executive summary at the beginning, and then we go into both like the project introduction, the data collection that we've done, the different options analysis that we've gone through, and these parts we've presented to you guys throughout the course of the project. And then today we have the final parts where we just talk more about what are the recommendations and some of the implementations that we suggested through that. So following up, let's see, just to remind you, the last time the route that we recommended was this northern corridor, which say starting in Cape Girardeau, it basically extends the Cape LaCroix Trail along the Cape LaCroix Creek, roughly, and it goes north all the way up through County Road 621 until it gets too close to like 618, where we turn west and showing on a little bit of Highway W to get to LaSalle. And then we follow east on LaSalle, crossing the I-55 underpass there and continue on East Main Street until we get into Jackson and the railroad tracks, where we take that south to get up to East Jackson Boulevard and can connect to the existing Jackson trails. So this is a route that the public liked the most at the public meetings, and this one scored best on the valuation matrix that we did. Let's see, last time I believe we talked about dividing this up into segments because you can't really build the whole thing at once. And so we came up with at least 8 potential segments that you guys could cut up for this, as well as a potential phasing plan of how you might phase that in. So for these, the first 2 segments would be like the areas extensions in Jackson and Cape Girardeau, where you're extending and adding on to the existing trails that you have there. This way, we're not just building something out in the middle of nowhere without anything to connect it to. After we do extensions from there, we kind of start filling in on each side to find the connecting in the middle. The one part that's different is number 2 in Jackson, which that's currently, I believe, I don't know if it's with MoDOT, but they're getting some extensions of an existing sidewalk through there. It's still a small little 6-foot sidewalk, but because that's already being built and it's brand new, we were thinking that upgrading this section to a full like multi-use trail, it's probably a lot of work or disruption to the public to upgrade that right after you're already just built a new smaller sidewalk. So that one could be pushed to a much later time. We feel that's needed to upgrade to the full standard. But of course, all these can be adjusted as each city raises money and projects go forward. We came up with some cost estimates of these different segments about how much they might cost through here. And these were mostly based off of the cost estimating models that Great Rivers Greenway uses up here in St. Louis, since they are constantly building these trails all the time. For them, it's the core cost is typically about $3 million a mile. And then on top of that, you add in all these extra costs, whether it's material testing, construction admin, design, those, and contingency. And so once you add all that in, then we took that and based it a lot on generally the length of the trail segments to get a good master plan level order of magnitude estimated cost for each of these segments. Of course, as we go out into the future, you'll have to add on inflation and other things to the cost, but this should help give a good general idea of how much it's going to cost for doing the entire project long-term. In the report, we have a section or part of it that talks all about, or just gives a lot of suggested funding sources and opportunities. Many of these SEMPO, the SEMPO group should be familiar with, because a lot of them tie into your other projects that you're suggesting to the cities. But in the report, we go through, we add a little more detail on each one of these, but different federal funding programs, state fundings, local fundings, and even private fundings that are places that a lot of cities and organizations in the area have gotten money to pay for these projects. And then finally, we then go into offering some suggested trail design kind of templates. Let's see. And so typically, like these shared use paths, which should be comparable to what you see at the Cape LaCroix Trail and what we use up here in Great Rivers Greenway systems, is that you're looking at probably a 10 to 12 foot wide trail with a little bit of shoulder on each side space, along with clearances. And the vast majority of this corridor is along the kind of paralleling a road. So we call that a side path design. And so we gave diagrams for this where you're typically wanting like at least a minimum 5 foot spacing between the road and the pathway, with, you know, you try to get wider than you can and have right of way. We also offered, and we added more descriptions in the report, but typical crossings. So how the trail would cross kind of a minor street on the side, or if you have mid-block crossings for both minor and major crossings, of how those would happen. Minor roads would be just generally signs, but the major roads, you add additional infrastructure like, you know, flashing beacons or hawk signals or those things to help stop traffic for the major roads that you have to have mid-block crossings. And that's generally the last chapter of the reports that we go through. And then finally, the next steps would be asking you guys about what potential dates we'd want to have for the SEMPO board meeting and the public open house. I mean, ideally, it'd be nice if they can happen on the same day. And I guess also the question would be, do we have a single open house, or is it a double open house again, like we had one in each city? So that's a question for you, Alex, and the team.
Yeah, and I can work with you, Jonathan, on that. I have some thoughts. I want to be able to flesh them out.
That's fine. We can do that. We can work on the side on that. So that's what I have there, but I'm open to additional questions, and we'll take feedback later on if you have, you know, if you want to report more yourself. We'll also take feedback.
Any questions currently? I know folks haven't had a chance to read through the draft yet, but now, between now and then, whenever we decide it's ready for board approval, will be all of our opportunity to provide comments on the draft. Certainly a month to be able to provide comments. Not under a huge timeline crunch to get it adopted, but we want to make sure it gets wrapped up. So let me know if you have any feedback on it. You can send it directly to me, and I'll aggregate it and send it on to Jonathan at BDS.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next we've got the Metropolitan Transportation Plan update.
Okay. So we have our progress report that we provided. They're making good progress on items such as existing conditions and forecasting in terms of population projections, land use projections. They've reviewed our bike ped trail facilities, our rideshare services offered in the area, as well as our air, river, and rail transport services. So MTP wanted to discuss, we're getting close to the stage where we're going to be conducting stakeholder engagement. And when we did the MTP back in 2020, 2021, we had identified certain groups that we wanted to target and then populated those groups with individuals we thought were good spokesmen for that category. So we didn't want to take for granted that the group wanted all the same groups. So we at least wanted to touch with this group and have that conversation. So I'll turn it over to Mike Alvin with CBB.
Yes. Thank you, Alex. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Myself.
All right. So yeah, as Alex had mentioned, we are getting close to beginning the public and stakeholder engagement section of our plan. So we anticipate that that will kind of ramp up here in the next, I believe starting in middle of April to May, we're gonna kind of get that going. And so, as Alex mentioned, the last time there were 9 virtual focus groups, and I'll put them up on the screen here. I've got just this one slide is kind of a visual aid, but there were 9 focus groups that you focused on last time, including aviation, bike and ped, economic development and tourism, emergency management, freight, including ports, rail and trucking, neighborhood groups, transit, accessibility, and then just a general category. And so my understanding is that these were 9 different meetings where people related to these or had an interest in these 9 different categories came and spoke, or I'm sorry, participated in a facilitated exercise to gain feedback in these categories, for which then different recommendations and different parts of the plan were it helped guide different recommendations in different parts of the plan, and also helped the planning team at that time determine different things that maybe they had missed as going through different parts of the plan as well. So a couple thoughts that we had going through that. I mean, that's kind of what you did last time is what we usually tend to do ourselves. So we can certainly keep it that way. Another thought is kind of go a little bit stakeholder heavy and kind of break these categories down into even finer categories. So, for example, we could take transit, break that down into taxi providers, limo services, ride sharing, school bus operators, and kind of have individual interviews with each of these stakeholders for about an hour at a time. It amounts to about 20 to 30 hour-long meetings that we would have over the course of a week, probably. Send down a couple of people from our team and spend the week down here interviewing various stakeholders. And of course, you could all participate in these meetings as well. And then the public component of that would then sort of be beyond, we anticipate having a survey like you did last time. Our thought would be to take many of the same questions to kind of see how results have changed since the last update. And then on top of that, we would hold 2 open houses, or we could hold 2 open houses, depending on what you guys think, perhaps in multiple locations, one in Cape, one in Jackson, or something to that effect, where we kind of go through the planning process. At the first one, introduce planning goals and gain feedback on those, as well as the vision and the objectives. And then one later in the plan timeline would discuss recommendations that we've come up with along the way and ask for feedback on those. And so, yeah, there's a kind of 2 different ways of doing it. I guess the first one, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, the focus groups were both stakeholder and public involved, if that's.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And then alternative to that, kind of as I just explained, we could do it a little bit more stakeholder focused with the sort of interviews, or the same way that you did it last time with these focus groups. And then the public component of that would be more focused on open houses and the survey. So hopefully that all kind of made sense. Let me know if you have any questions and if I can clear anything up. I feel like I kind of rambled through it a little bit, but any initial thoughts on what I've just said?
From my perspective, and my recollection of the stakeholder meetings from the last time we conducted the study, these groups seem to work out well. There is a good number of them. So breaking them down further, I think would be a little bit too much and
Okay.
many work hours, at least from my perspective. I thought these captured a lot of people. We had some community members that were kind of subject matter knowledgeable in a lot of different of these groups. We put them in the general so they could kind of share perspectives across all the different modes of transportation. But looking at these, it's kind of easy to identify individuals that we would recommend be a part of those discussions. But I wanted to have this group's perspective if there's a category you think we're missing, or if there's two that you think really should be lumped together, or if there's a different approach altogether that you would recommend. But I'd be comfortable with this list.
Yeah, and I'll throw in real quick, I would be too. This is very similar to what we've done on other MTP projects as well.
Can you share the use of this when it's over? What's it used for?
Oh, the Metropolitan
Yeah.
Transportation Plan. So this is our long-range transportation plan. It covers all modes of transportation in our planning area. So we're looking at, air, freight, rail, automobile, bike ped, anything transportation related. This doesn't do a huge deep dive into each one of those categories, but it gives a good comprehensive analysis of where we're at and what we'd like to see high level in the next 20 years. We have to update the plan every 5 years, but it's a 20-year vision. And it really serves as our overarching planning document for everything we do. So if we develop, say, a trail connection study, we then tie it to our metropolitan transportation plan, saying, here's a deeper dive into trails for our community, but the overarching planning document is our MTP. So they'll take a look at what we did with our trail study and reflect a lot of what we heard from the public through those efforts into this plan. Any additional thoughts? Are we okay with the approach we took last time? Yeah, I'm getting pretty good consensus here. Nobody's banging the table yet, Mike, so I think, okay.
Sounds good. All right, we will continue with what was done with the last one. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
So some MTP. So we've got the 2026 UPWP.
Okay, so the agenda has two of the same thing on it, so C and D are the same item. This is more of a heads up. I took the planning committee's recommendation of projects to plan for next fiscal year to the board. They didn't have intention with any of the program projects, but they did want to add a multimodal freight study. They didn't have the stomach to remove anything. So this is going to be a pretty large planning year with the amount of projects we have programmed. But I shared with them, I think it is feasible, and they wanted to attempt it. So this is everything you saw and recommended to the board, plus $100,000 for multimodal freight study. Any questions on FY26 work plan for the year? So as a reminder, our major planning initiatives for FY26, we're continuing our metropolitan transportation plan. We're continuing our investment in the CHIP online toll management software. We are conducting a transit transportation study, and as well as a multimodal freight study. Okay, hearing no questions, your recommendation will be going to the board at their meeting this month. So hopefully we'll get that approved and sent on to state and federal partners for final review.
Member reports.
A couple quick updates. South Spring Street is underway. They have got it built up the entire way. Now they're working on pulling the new water line. They've got a couple blocks back already pulled. They will be catching up with more. So they've kind of started at the south end and working their way up from Southern Expressway towards 74. The Lexington project is underway still. We had a ribbon cutting for the eastern end of the project. We could almost count those as two separate projects. That's kind of how it was designed. There was a split in the work. Cape Rock to Sherwood has been done. That was the only project we did. So Cape Rock all the way to Big Bend is pretty well, all intents and purposes, complete. Now they're moving to Sherwood and will continue to head west. The next big, I guess, traffic upset will be there at Perryville. There are detours in place. I don't think Mark and I have any overlapping work at the moment.
Oh, for once,
We
right?
might be able to spread out the traffic cones a little bit. But they're still moving west. That project has a long schedule, but they are still making good headway on it, and they'll continue to do so as long as the weather is up. Our 25 asphalt overlay project goes to council next Monday, and then it will be out and being done during the season. I believe the asphalt contractor just wants to get on it sooner rather than later. And the 24 concrete, they're still working on Cape Rock. They still are on schedule. They will be dropping back to Lombardo soon. That'll be the last lane they need to do, get back up to Perryville, and then we can finally open Kings Highway and Cape Rock. So that one just felt like it's taken forever. When the weather has agreed, they've made very good time. Thank you for dealing with us during that construction. I think those are the main highlights, main things we've got going. Next Tuesday is the vote for GTSF.
Vote, encourage others to vote.
So Jake, that northern east-west corridor then, that Lexington currently provides, my goodness, you're gonna really have to gerrymander people around to get east-west to the river, in terms of the detour route.
So the detour, at the moment, the detour will just be keep heading south on Perryville and then come back up Cape Rock. So we're kind of skipping that from Perryville to Cape Rock will be closed down.
I got you.
The last time we did that, we tried to send people on Sherwood. In my opinion, that's a bit too much of a residential street.
Yeah,
So the official detour will look a lot like it has here recently. It's just Perryville to Cape Rock and skip that whole little piece of place.
I got you.
Local traffic will figure out ways to get a lot closer in there. But the marked detour that hopefully folks that don't know all the shortcuts around town will just keep them well away from any of the residential streets. You know, kind of a big detour, but it will handle the traffic well. And it's pretty simple.
So painful, but boy, that one stretch you have done, the eastern stretch, I'm like, so nice.
And that's the goal, is construction is painful, it's frustrating, I drive through there as well. The stuff on Cape Rock has been right in my way for a few months now. So I am as excited as anyone else when we open the roadway, but it's nice and beautiful and rides like butter when we're
Yeah.
done. So
Nice. It's
if,
great.
if citizens can use our detours, try to stay away from the construction, our contractors can go faster if they aren't looking over their shoulder for motorists. If you do need to get in the construction zones, please just drive safely. And that would be my ask for everyone on this group is to spread that word. In the construction zones, be safe. If you can go around, please do. It actually speeds them up some.
Is that a 12-month project?
Lexington was an 18-month project. They'll have it done this year. And then, the Cape Rock, that projects, the 24 concrete, you're supposed to have that done in August.
That's great, Jay. That'd be great.
So that was all I had.
If anybody here from City of Jackson? Takes us to the county. Jay, you have any updates?
I don't have anything to report.
Mark, how about you?
I don't really have anything today either, just, everybody stay safe.
Big Transit Authority, Jenny, you still on? Oh, it's still on. Okay. Mr. University, right? Okay, SEMPO Port Authority, Carrie.
We're still paving our driveway and parking lot. It's going along very nicely. I would anticipate they'll finish up probably within a month. And then we're just in the process of advertising for track upgrade job, earthwork and sub-ballast. So for some storage tracks. So they'll open bids here the 1st of May and award that probably middle of May after the May meeting. And we'll get that underway hopefully by the end of May.
I don't think JoJo's on the airport. Drew, you still on for the RPC? SEMPO RPC?
Yep. I've just got a couple of amendments that'll be coming up next month for CTA. But other than that, I've got training with Eco Interactive or whatever, they've been bought out. I don't remember what their name is now.
That name.
Do what?
They still use the Eco Interactive. They just have different parent.
Oh, okay. All right. So then I've got training with the Eco Interactive people tomorrow to go over the TIP software and some of the additional features that we've got there. I think that's all I've got going on at the moment.
No one for Blue Deal. We do have Shad for SEMPO Ready.
TTF vote, I can say vote yes, so vote yes.
I can too.
Yeah, get it out. We can't assume this.
I say to vote, they say to vote.
Yeah, I would say call your friends.
None of those projects Jake reported on would have happened without it.
It's 100% right.
The audience is small in here.
I think we sold it as much as we can. All right, that's my forward report.
That's true.
MoDOT.
Yes, I'm Corbin Carlton, area engineer for MoDOT. We've got a list of updates for the local projects for the SEMPO. Emerson Bridge is starting in a couple of weeks. We'll be closing one lane both ways for the next 2 years as we rehabilitate the Emerson Bridge. That's a $15.5 million project. City of Jackson, we have a lighting agreement that the city is reviewing currently. Should have that finalized in the next couple of weeks. Route 177 south of P&G into Cape Girardeau. We have shoulder work that has already started on that job. March 19th, we closed the Route Y Bridge. Can we slow down? Okay. Route Y Bridge is closed.
There's a project we don't like.
Okay. We'll reopen the Route Y Bridge at July 18th. That will be the 120-day window. At exit 95, Route 74 signals, we are waiting on some cabinets to come in, and then we'll have contractors put in some labor. That should be done in 2 weeks with good weather. Obviously, the weather is a little bit iffy right now, so maybe 3 weeks. The Route 72 Millfill overlay, the contractor has pushed back asphalt work until August for that job. We have a drainage project at Route K. Puts construction still plans to start in July. They're waiting on the rains in before they get to start that work. I've got an update on Chester. Don't need to talk about that. And then Shad at SEMPO Ready. If you would rather push back till next Tuesday afternoon, it'd be easier for you. We could do that.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. Notre Dame's getting out of this.
Yeah, anything, Joe?
So we finished up the STIP entry. We've had our month-long review, and next week we will have our meeting with our senior management team to go over the draft STIP. That will be the 26 through 30 STIP. And I will have a list of projects probably in the next week to send to Drew to start the next update, the next big MoDOT tip update. And I was looking for an email that I'd seen in the last week about the projects that were removed from the high priority unfunded needs list. We'll be in touch on that because that process will be starting up very quickly, probably next month, maybe even towards the end of this month. We'll be sending out emails to kind of prep for that, so we'll be prepared for the May meeting to go ahead and update the high priority unfunded needs. And I think that is all that I'm going to report on.
IDOT, it's come on.
No.
FHWA,
FHWA here. This is Cecily. We have nothing new to report, but as soon as I have something, I will pass it along.
Thank you. Daniel, did you have anything?
No, I have nothing to report this time. Thank you.
okay. And FTA. Okay. That concludes member reports. We'll move on to the staff report.
Two very quick things. One-page announcement about the Safe Streets and Roads for All program opening up for FY '25. We now do have an approved comprehensive safety action plan, so you can apply for implementation grants, which are capital construction grants. If you have any questions on the program, feel free to get with me and I can help you out. Only other thing is we had a legislative proposal call from MoDOT yesterday, going over potential House bills that have been introduced in either the Senate or the House and the state level that could impact MoDOT funding and ultimately cities and counties. So the bullet points you see here in this one-page email highlight the House bill or the Senate bill and give some very brief, so you'll want to look up those bills yourself, of potential impacts to state funding, MoDOT state funding, or city county funding. I wanted folks aware of those because we got a call with them and they went over each one of these briefly with us as well. So as you learn more about these proposed House and Senate bills, feel free to talk with our elected officials if they have conversations with state elected officials, or as you have conversations with state elected officials. That's all I got.
Go to business today. Now, accept the motion, second to adjourn.
Chad Berner.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned, stay safe.
Good to see you, Jay.
Your crew will be on call, huh?
Absolutely.